Hi! In this last video on Dolphin and motion controls, I will show gameplay and share with you a configuration for the Pro Controller. This time I won't show a step-by-step tutorial, as it's basically the same as with the Joy-Cons, except that the nunchuck shape function is simulated with a button. And sorry for my weakness, because you'll see, I'm not really comfortable making a video without a script. But anyway, let's get to it. So, before I start the gameplay with Skyward Sword, I would like to say that if you don't own a Switch Pro Controller, you can also use other controls that are compatible with the Switch, except for the Power A GameCube wireless controller, and the sticks don't really work well with Windows. I suggest you to use 8-bit controllers. I even think that the SN30 Pro Plus motion controls are better than the Switch Pro controller. I think it's because they optimized also for PS4 motion control. But anyway, if you want to use a different controller, you need to do some editing in the profile first. All you have to do is calibrate the right stick under motion simulation, and then the left stick under extension. Once that's done, you're ready to play your solo games. If you want to play with multiple controllers with motion control enabled, for example to play Mario Kart Wii with friends, you need to do some extra changes. Go to Configuration, then load the profile, and change the device to the corresponding controller in the drop-down menu. If it's a Pro controller, you don't need to recalibrate it. To enable the rumble functionality, you need to change the number to the corresponding DSU controller. But be careful, if you already have a connected X-input controller, it will shift numbers depending on the order in which they were connected to your computer. I'll quickly show some gameplay with Mario Kart Wii now. So this one works too, and this one works too. Okay, yeah, I just looked at the wrong one. So yeah, okay, it works really well. So I think you can, yeah, even use the right joystick, but it's not optimal. Whoops. Okay. Yeah, B? Why is B? Oh yeah, because B is B. So now, I'll just play Skyward Sword for a bit and show you what you can do. And okay, let's do this. So I don't know if this has any impact over the motion controls, but just in case I do, as indicated on screen. So in this configuration, the right stick is mapped to the sword swings, and you have to push the left stick to recalibrate the motion control. So if it's not facing the proper way when you throw you unsheath your sword, just push this button. So yeah. So when I tried to configure R3 to be forward thrust, I can't really do it because I had to disable the forward thrust simulation in the configuration so that it won't forward thrust when you've done an attack. Because let me show you. Yeah, distance. I'll make it 20. Yeah. As you can see, it's not working properly. Even the button doesn't work properly, so I just disabled it. So the buttons are configured like this, so B is B, A is A, X is up, I think, Y is minus, plus is 1, minus is plus, C is L, well, L is C. To recenter, so down, I think, down, and well, to summon Phi is R, up is 2, I think that's it, and home button is home button. So be careful if you use this in game DVR for Windows, disable the fact that the Xbox button summons the game DVR for Windows. And I think that's it. The snap button doesn't work, so that's it, yeah. So now I show some... No, first... well, let me show you. This bugnet, it's called like that, yeah, it's pretty OP with the controller. Just have to swing it around and you get debugs. Well, pretty much everything is everything that has to swing is OP with the controllers. The drawing system is, well, just like any other motion control system. It works fine. I'll try a Ruby. This one will give me Earth, yeah. It's as hard as with any other motion control, to be fair. Well, a bit harder because you have to swing it differently, I guess. With the ARP, so you have to follow the drawing, so you have to turn it around. Oops. You can use it horizontally, but it's... yeah, see? Doesn't rock really well. but if you use it rotated, it works just fine. So the spin dash. The spin dash is the... oh yeah, I didn't even say that. The shield button is ZR and Z target is ZL. So in order to do a spin dash, you have to right stick plus ZR. It works in any directions. Just be careful, because when you do a big swing like that, to release it directly just after, because sometimes it will... yeah, see? I wanted to do an upward spin dash, but it did an horizontal one. But it doesn't even matter, because if you don't use cheat, you won't be able to do regular spin dash like this. So for the items, they work just as you would expect. There's nothing really much to say. This object, I don't know what it's called in English, the beetle, I think. You can use it with right stick, but you have to push it, not completely. If you push it completely, it'll do odd things. Just like that. Well, it works, but yeah, be careful. Oh yeah, throwable objects, so I'll show this with rocks. When you grab throwable objects, be careful, because he will always be in that position, so just tilt down the controller a bit and he will be on the right position. So you can throw in different ways. You can do it normally with the motion controls. You can throw with the joystick, so if you want to throw it up, down, and if you want to roll it, down, up. If you just want to throw it, you can just use the joystick to throw it directly. As you can see, sometimes shaking the controller doesn't work, so yeah, be careful. But be really careful if you want to roll it. Just tilt a bit the controller. So the whip, it works just like the sword, so you can use the right stick or the motion control. But the motion control is kind of finicky. Well, I'm constrained by the camera, but I think if you... let me test it. Yeah, you have to grab it one-handed, even if you're not constrained by objects, so yeah, it works fine. And the other are pretty much the same. So I'll show the... how is it called? Lance-pierre? Well, this one. Just works like a pointer. The bow is not really different, but sometimes when you charge and release, sometimes it will glitch out. Don't know if... it depends on... well, this time it won't work, but sometimes it will glitch out. Just push recenter R and it will be okay. So now I will show combat. Oh, and ropes mechanic, because it's well, these ones are really fine, they are easy. Just use the joystick or the motion control. but the one that are laid down, I guess, works quite differently. Whoops. I thought you wouldn't make it. Oh, finishing moves. So, finishing move and forward, well, not forward slash, but how do you jump attack? Yes. So, it's jump attacks are pretty. You have to be quick on the button, but any direction is fine. So just like here, and well, finishing moves are just the same as spin dash. Just use the stick and the shield button. The difficult way to do jump attacks is normally when you sprint and use the sword, you will do a jump attack. Just do it like me, like with a, I think it's called a claw. You just use your index finger. It's kind of finicky, but it works just fine. For shaking, sometimes it will ask you to shake. Just use the shield button. It will work just as well. Just as good. So yeah. I think I wanted to say something, but I don't remember. Whoops. Oops. Oops. Oh, let me try something. Oh, no. Okay, so the ropes. It's, well, if you think about it, it's just like for the ARPs. You have to, it's showed, but you have to rotate it. So for the, oops, for the ropes like this, it's the same. You have to make it, make the controller upright. If you just play like this, it won't really work. So yeah. Just use the stick to shake. Oops. I'm a bit constrained by the table. I think it's way simpler if you don't have any obstacle on your way. So here's how the sword can be OP. Just turn it around and it's really spammable. Oops. I have to see if I can configure this properly. So while I did this video, I added a function to both profiles, the alternate and the normal Skyward Sword one. Whenever you draw your bow, you can press C to draw a bow, and you have to shake the nunchuck. But I've made it so that you can press, wait, let me show you, ZR to emulate the function of shaking the nunchuck backward. So you really see, and voila. Oh yeah, swimming is quite simple, in fact, just point it in the direction. First of all, I want to say that this alternate control profile is mostly an experimental one, so it's not really meant for long playthrough, and while making this profile, I had in mind a button layout from Breath of the Wild and other 3D Zelda games, where you only need to push a button to attack. To swing your sword, you need to push X and move the left joystick to any direction. can also press X at the same time you move the stick. And other than D-pad up being on Y, minus being on D-pad up, and 2 being on D-pad down, all the other buttons are still the same. One of the downside of this layout is that in order to leap, your only option is to swing the controller. Because if you want to push X and the directions, it doesn't work. With this layout, jump attacks are way easier to execute. As well as fatal blows and spin attacks. To conclude, I would say that I found this to be a cool way to play Skyward Sword, even if it can sometimes be too finicky or sometimes too OP. You can really spam slash and brute force enemies. I mainly wanted to do a configuration like that because I wanted to see that if a port on Switch was made, if it would be possible that they make it so that we can use the Pro Controller, even though I doubt that they would make it a reality. If you made it this far through the video, I would like to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the, maybe, next video. See ya!